I think customs is really where data analytics shines because it's so data driven. Sometimes it's really simple things like customs valuation. We can help organizations catch in real time if they have a valuation issue, for example. Sometimes this is merely the result of a typo. The comma goes in the wrong spot. Suddenly you're declaring 30,000 euros instead of 300,000 euros, and that's going to cost you quite a bit of money in the future if you don't catch that and declare it in time. So being able to catch these kind of errors as they're happening and give you that adjustment time period is really beneficial for an organization. But other times it's more operational. So for example, as soon as an order is created that's missing an HS code, we want to make sure that we give you ample time to fix that before it gets handed over to your broker, and that creates delays on your particular process. So SEIA is really great at giving you that time to make the adjustments you need, not only to prevent violations, but also to prevent some operational disruptions. Oh, I love this question because anyone that knows me knows I hate traditional KPIs. As a trade compliance officer myself, I always found it a little bit difficult that my key performance indicator was based on how much effort I put in, right? So some functional KPIs like how much business I'm actually managing, that's interesting. But some of the other ones, things like, oh, I applied for 5 licenses this month. What if I actually needed to apply for 15? Or what if I needed 0? How do you peg a KPI like that against real performance measurements? So what I like to do using the analytics that we have at SEIA is define something that I call a risk-based KPI. So this is really measuring and managing how our risk exposure is changing, either as a result of external factors or, in best case, my efforts to bring that risk exposure down. So in this way, we can really measure how trade compliance is being effective in supporting and protecting your organization. So this is really where I think as an industry, whether you're working with SEIA or not, start thinking about how you define risk-based KPIs to show how your efforts are actually reducing risk exposure. Oh, that's a great question. So I think this is the goal of every trade compliance officer, is to not just be firefighting, but to actually get a little bit of control within that chaos. So what we do at SEIA is we start with transparency. If you already have a strong foundation of transparency and oversight of your business, it allows you to really see how some of these things are changing. Secondly, we look for emerging trends as they're happening. So as risks are evolving in your organization, not just from a regulatory point of view, but also from an operational point of view, because don't forget, all violations, all regulatory issues stem from a pattern of operational behavior that allowed that risk to occur. So by seeing this evolve and catching it early, we can help organizations prevent violations going forward. And finally, probably the most impactful is our ability to do real-time red flag and alert monitoring. So as soon as a risk is happening within your organization, maybe on a specific transaction, we can immediately bring some of these insights to your attention so that you can hopefully get ahead of this and prevent some of those violations. So I would say that SEIA is complementary to your existing trade compliance tech environment. In fact, by using SEIA, you're going to make that existing technical environment much more efficient and effective. We can think about our existing environments in 3 layers. On the bottom layer, we have our functional layer. This is really where we're doing trade compliance. We have our license determination processes, our classification processes, and this is really a combination of manual and technical tools. On top of that, we have the program layer. That's where we manage these processes through things like drafting policies and procedures and doing training and awareness. And at the very top, we have what I personally like to call the assurance layer. So this is really where we are doing our risk assessments and we're asking ourselves that question: does my trade compliance program work as intended, and how do I optimize it? So in the past, this included things like questionnaires or spot checking or audits, but what we do at SEIA is we come in and we provide a tangible, organized, and complete data-driven risk assurance layer within your organization. So in this way, we're very complementary to the other activities that you're doing, and we really help you prioritize your improvements and make sure you're getting the most out of those other systems. I think that's the experience of every organization in the world. In my extensive career working with many different companies as a lawyer, consultant, and in-house, I've never seen a company that has really great master data quality. However, that shouldn't be a hurdle or a deterrent to doing appropriate risk management or evaluating your risk exposure, because sometimes the risk that you need to manage is actually your data quality. So at SEIA, what we do is instead of having a garbage in, garbage out mentality, we meet the data where it's at, and based on the regulatory impact and the operational impact of that data, we help organizations prioritize which bad data is actually having the biggest impact on their risk exposure or their operational processes as an organization, because you cannot fix everything by tomorrow. So if you can only fix 2 or 3 pieces of bad data this week, which do you pick to have the biggest impact with the least amount of effort?